Greens dominated, lush and ancient. Bold blues streaked through the canopy above. Shafts of crimson light pierced the dense foliage. This was no ordinary woodland. Every leaf, every branch seemed crafted from stained glass. The light fractured, creating kaleidoscopic patterns on the forest floor. Mystical vines coiled around tree trunks. They pulsed with a faint, ethereal luminescence, a silent energy. Dasa, the man, and Dole, the T-Rex, stepped into this living cathedral of light and shadow. Their hunt had begun. The air hummed with unseen life. Leaves rustled underfoot, a soft counterpoint to their cautious steps. Twigs snapped with startling clarity in the charged silence. Distant bird calls echoed, sharp and melodic. These were the natural sounds of this primeval world. Beneath them, a fainter sound persisted. It was a low hum, almost imperceptible. This was the song of the glowing vines, a subtle thrum of mystical energy. It created an atmosphere thick with anticipation. Every sound was a signal, a warning or an invitation. Dasa and Dole listened intently, their senses honed. Dasa moved with a hunter's grace. His grip on the spear was firm. His face, illuminated by the fractured light, showed grim determination. He was a provider. He was a protector. Dole, massive and powerful, moved with surprising stealth. Her immense form blended with the shifting shadows. Her golden eyes, flecked with predatory light, scanned the undergrowth. She was a mother. She was a force of nature. Though vastly different, man and beast shared a common purpose. They moved as one, a silent pact forged in the crucible of survival. This forest was a paradox. It offered sustenance. It promised life. Small creatures darted through the ferns, potential food for the hungry. Yet it also concealed untold dangers. Every shadow could hide a threat. The vibrant beauty of the stained glass light could not mask the peril. The glowing vines, while mystical, cast an eerie ambience. This was a place of life and death, intricately woven together. Dasa and Dole understood this delicate balance. Their mission was to claim life, to provide, and to return safely from the verdant labyrinth. The tension was a palpable thing. Dasa's eyes, sharp and focused, scanned every detail. He sought the faintest sign of movement. His spear felt like an extension of his arm. It was his tool, his weapon, his means of ensuring his family ate. He paused, listening, his head tilted. He saw Dole watching him, her massive head still. He whispered, his voice barely disturbing the air, "There, Dole, move slowly." His words were soft, yet carried an undeniable urgency. "We need food for the little ones." The thought of the vulnerable young human and saurian fueled his every action. Their survival depended on this hunt. Dole responded not with words, but with an almost imperceptible shift in her stance. Her body tensed. A low growl rumbled deep in her chest, a sound of pure, primal focus. Her intent was unmistakable. She understood Dasa's quiet command. Her senses, far keener than any human's, were already locked onto their quarry. The glowing vine seemed to pulse in sympathy with her heightened awareness. She was a creature of instinct, a perfectly honed predator. Her predatory focus was a terrifying, awesome sight. The forest held its breath around her. Together they moved. Their progress was a masterpiece of stealth and coordination. Dasa, agile and light, used the dense undergrowth for cover. Dole, despite her size, mirrored his caution. Her heavy footfalls were surprisingly muffled on the soft earth. They were a study in contrasts, yet their movements were perfectly synchronized. It was a silent ballet of hunter and predator. No further words were needed. Years of shared hunts, of mutual reliance, had forged this unspoken understanding. They anticipated each other's actions, a seamless team in this deadly game. Then they saw it. A flash of movement through the ferns. A gallimimus, small and swift, darted into a sun-dappled clearing. The herbivore was skittish, its head bobbing nervously as it searched for edible roots. Its slender form was a fleeting target. The tension ratcheted higher. This was their chance. The stained glass light painted the Gallimimus in hues of amber and green. It was unaware of the danger lurking just meters away. Darsa and Dole froze, their muscles coiled, ready to strike. The moment was almost upon them. The air grew still. Only the faint hum of the mystical vines could be heard. Darsa and Dole edged closer. Each step was measured, deliberate. The Gallimimus continued its foraging, oblivious. The stained glass light seemed to intensify, sharpening the edges of every leaf, every shadow. Darsa could feel his heart pounding against his ribs. Dole remained a statue of coiled power beside him. This was the critical juncture. One wrong move, one careless sound, and their prey would vanish. The culmination of their silent stalk was at hand, demanding absolute precision. Darsa raised his spear. The smooth wood felt familiar in his grip. He took a slow, steadying breath. His eyes never left the Gallimimus. He calculated the distance, the angle. The mystical vines cast dancing patterns of light across his arm. For a heartbeat, the world narrowed to this single point of focus. Then, with a powerful surge of his shoulder, he threw. The spear flew true, a glinting streak through the dappled light. It cut through the air, a whisper of impending death. The stained glass patterns seemed to warp around its trajectory. Before the spear even found its mark, Dole exploded into motion. She was a blur of scales and muscle. A guttural roar ripped from her throat, a sound of pure, unadulterated power. It was a triumphant, terrifying sound. She covered the distance to the startled Gallimimus in two massive bounds. Her jaws, lined with dagger-like teeth, snapped shut with incredible force. The impact was brutal, decisive. The small herbivore had no chance. The stained glass forest briefly flashed with vibrant reds as the hunt reached its violent conclusion. The Gallimimus fell, its brief struggle silenced. The spear protruded from its flank. Dole stood over her kill, chest heaving. The tension that had filled the clearing moments before vanished. It was replaced by the stark reality of death. The vibrant colours of the forest seemed to settle, the mystical vines pulsing a little slower. The hunt was over. Food was secured. Darsa slowly approached, his spear already in mind for retrieval. The air still echoed with the fading reverberations of Dole's roar, a definitive statement of their success. Darsa reached the fallen Gallimimus. Dole stepped back slightly, allowing him access. He retrieved his spear, wiping it clean on the broad leaves nearby. There was no celebration, only a quiet acknowledgement of necessity. The task was not yet complete. They had made the kill. Now they had to bring it home. Dole nudged the carcass with her massive snout, a silent question. Darsa nodded. Together, they began the arduous task of securing their prize. The stained glass light filtered down, casting long shadows as they worked. The Gallimimus was not large, but it was a significant burden. Darsa fashioned a crude harness from tough vines. Dole, with her immense strength, took the brunt of the weight. She gripped a portion of the prey gently in her jaws. Darsa pulled alongside her, guiding their path. They moved slowly, deliberately back through the verdant labyrinth. Each step was a testament to their shared effort. The forest, once a place of tense anticipation, now felt like a passage they needed to traverse with their hard-won bounty. Their teamwork was seamless, born of necessity. Their thoughts turned to the camp. Maya would be waiting. The little ones, Darsa's child and Dole's 3 offspring, would be hungry. This successful hunt meant survival for another period. It meant life. The image of their family, their mixed species unit, propelled them forward. The weight of the carcass was a physical manifestation of their responsibility. The mystical vines seemed to light their path, their gentle glow a subtle guide. The forest, though still dangerous, felt momentarily benign in the wake of their success. This hunt did more than just provide food. It reinforced the extraordinary bond between Dasa and Dole. Man and T-Rex, predator and provider, united by a common goal. Their teamwork was a testament to their mutual reliance. In this harsh prehistoric world, such alliances were rare, precious. Each successful hunt, each shared meal strengthened this connection. As they emerged from the stained glass forest, dragging their kill, their bond was palpable. They had faced the wilderness together and triumphed. For now, their family was safe. The stained glass forest receded behind them. Its vibrant hues gave way to a stark, muted palette. Dasa, Maya and Dole, with their young, emerged into a different realm. This was the Wasteland. It stretched before them, vast and unforgiving. The transition was jarring. The lush, albeit dangerous, embrace of the forest was replaced by an exposed vulnerability. Here, there were few places to hide. The air itself felt thinner, colder. This new sanctuary offered little comfort, only a temporary reprieve under an indifferent sky, a pause in their endless journey for survival. Jagged rocks clawed at the pale moonlight. The earth was barren, cracked and dusty. It spoke of ancient droughts and relentless winds. On either side, the thick forests loomed like colossal dark walls. Their edges shimmered faintly. This was the work of the mystical, glowing vines. They snaked along the perimeter of the trees, their light casting an eerie, unsettling glow upon the wasteland's border. This was not the vibrant pulse of the deep forest vines. This was a more subdued, watchful luminescence. The contrast between the open desolation and the dense, mysterious woods was profound, a constant reminder of their precarious position. The family sought a modicum of shelter near a cluster of these jagged rocks. Dasa gathered sparse, dry brush. Soon a small fire crackled to life. Its light pushed back the immediate darkness, a tiny beacon of warmth in the immense cold. Maya huddled close, her arm around their child. Dole, the massive T-Rex, settled her bulk nearby, her immense form a protective barrier against the unseen. They were a small island of life in a sea of desolation. The firelight flickered across their weary faces, painting them in shifting shades of orange and red, a stark contrast to the cool blues of the moonlit waste. The babies, one human and three tiny T-Rexes, seemed oblivious to the harshness of their surroundings. Their energy for now was boundless. They began to play near the fire's edge, their small forms darting in and out of the shadows. Their attention was soon captured by something new. Tiny, glowing insects, no bigger than a thumb, flitted through the air. These creatures seemed to emanate the same mystical light as the distant vine. The babies, captivated, began to chase them. Their soft giggles a fragile sound against the backdrop of the silent, waiting wasteland. This innocent play was a momentary distraction from the ever-present threat. The crackle of the small fire was a comforting sound. It was joined by the soft, innocent giggles of the babies as they pursued the glowing insects. These were sounds of temporary peace, of domesticity in an untamed world. Yet the wasteland offered its own more sinister symphony. A chill wind howled across the barren plains, a mournful, lonely sound. It whispered through the jagged rocks, carrying with it the scent of dust and distant, unknown perils. Far off, the cry of some nocturnal creature echoed, a sharp reminder that they were not alone in this vast emptiness, that danger was always near. Adding to the unsettling chorus was the low, persistent hum from the forest edges. The mystical, glowing vines, though distant, emanated